All right, let's get into it, Joe. The announcement came this week that OU is replacing the traditional spring game with Crimson Combine. The event will feature OU players and coaching staff participating in combine-style drills, skills challenges, on-field fan engagement activities, autograph and photo opportunities, and more. I guess the first question is why, Joe? Why did you, Brent, why did OU feel like this was the way to go?
The old world has changed, and I don't like it either. I have joined our staff trying to engage more fans over the last several years. We've had concerts. We've pushed attendance. We've grown the attendance at spring games. We understand it, but the world has changed dramatically, and we don't have to like it, but it's something different, and it's hard to explain to everybody. But this is the forerunner for what's going to happen in spring football. Maybe people have a spring game this year, but in my mind, I see spring practices changing dramatically in the years to come. I'm thinking it might be like the pro teams have OTAs. We're going to go to smaller rosters, even if we have a roster cap at 105, which will be the roster size starting this fall. You're not going to have 105 guys out, generally speaking anyway. We don't have 120 guys out for spring ball in normal times because of a variety of reasons. So this is just something that's happening. And, as we talked the other night, there's probably more than half of the SEC schools that have already announced they're not doing it. And our coach and staff felt like this is the best way forward. Utilize the 15 days of practice that we have in the most productive way.
Is it because of a fear of poaching that other programs are going to come in and grab players in the spring portal? Is this a reality of the NIL world that players are demanding to be protected? What is the impetus for this, in your opinion?
The unregulated free agency style that we're facing. Whether we have a spring game or not, players can leave. During spring practice, after spring practice, they could leave this summer. Whether there's a portal or not, players can leave. It's not healthy, Toby. Nobody is sitting here defending it, complaining about it. It's just a situation that we're trying to address the best way possible. And, we haven't had this really before. Last year, about this time, the several attorney generals got a court injunction to block the NCAA rules limiting some transfers. We had the transfer portal for over 3 years, but they did have some limitations on transferring. Now there aren't any rules, and it's a tough spot to be in. We do not have contracts that are enforceable, and so we're trying to manage it with the players that we have. I can't tell you whether a spring game would open a door to poaching more than what goes on behind the scenes right now. But it's more about trying to utilize every practice we have and prepare a team that has, a lot of new players trying to find their role, their fit, their place, and building the team chemistry. And the spring game has always been a fun day. It gets a chance to have the players out there, sort of call it what you want, like a dress rehearsal. I get all that. Again, I'm not happy about it either, but this is the way that college football is evolving, whether we like it or not.
What do you say to fans, Joe? And I know you're sympathetic to them, who say, "What about us? All this is going on. We're being asked for more and more to help support NIL and all that kind of stuff, and now they're taking the spring game for us." I know you're sympathetic toward them, but what would your reaction be to them?
Well, I'm 100% sympathetic toward them. Like I said, we spent the last several years, going back probably more than several, 5-6 years, really trying to put an emphasis on having fun around the spring game, engaging with fans as best we could. Obviously, we've done some really unique things. We've celebrated a couple Heisman Trophy winners. We've had concerts. So this is not a great thing. I'm not at all trying to excuse it, justify it, or try to put any lipstick on it. It's a rotten spot to be in, and I feel for the fans because this has been a casual but fun day, and we have a lot of our former players back, which we'll continue to do. But the one thing we wanted to do, and we'll do our best to try to find all new ways to engage fans in a different type of environment, is have something regardless of whether there's a game. There are a lot of schools that have canceled spring games and not doing anything at all. We just said, forget that. We're going to try and create a entirely different way for our fans to engage with our team. And we haven't announced all of the details yet. We knew that we needed to get the announcement out that the game wasn't going to occur, but we'll have more and more details to follow as we get closer to April 12th.
Can you give us a feel kind of from the inside as to what the situation, what the landscape is out there right now as far as the agents or handlers, or, how bad is it out there with people trying to lure players from one school to the other? In other words, are we overreacting here, or is it really crazy kind of behind the scenes of how much the underbelly of college sports is trying to get after players and get them to move and present bad options for them? I didn't ask that question very well, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
No, I don't want to exaggerate it. There are players that have found reputable advisors or agents. There are people who are serving in a agent-type role, some of which don't have any training, some of which really have more of an agent's agenda than a player's agenda. It's anything and everything one could think of. And it's not healthy, but Toby, look, we don't gain anything by complaining about it. We just have to be the best in the space we can, navigating it until something more structured comes along. And it's got to happen, but it's not like it's right there on the horizon where we can point to it. There's several things that are going to change as we get toward July 1st, and we'll continue to navigate the world going forward. The role of a capped environment or sharing revenue, it is a change, and it will bring about some level of structure, but it's not the final solution. And anybody that's thinking about this solves it all is mistaken. It's just a step in the direction. And so we're going to have to navigate this environment until we get some level of structure where players and the teams that they're part of can come together and have an agreement that has some durability to it. Right now, we don't have that opportunity.
What's your level of faith that we're going to be able to get this thing under control in college sports?
I'm always optimistic, of course, and we have to. If we value what the American tradition has been for 100 and some years, 125, 130 years, it's gone through a lot of different phases. Change has made it better in a lot of ways, made the game safer in a lot of ways, but it always needs to be improved. The part that I hesitate about is I haven't seen a true strategy out there that I believe is going to work in the long run. the one that we're hoping at the moment is that the work being done in Washington that would allow a bipartisan approach to a bill that can help us structure the college sports world going forward without fear of being sued every time we turn around for some type of antitrust violation. That could help. I can't give you a percentage of chance of when that's going to happen or if it happens, but that is a big step. And it might allow us to create some type of a collectively bargained solution. Whether athletes become employees or not, that remains to be seen. But there can be some type of approach where the sides are represented and come to an approach, a compromised approach that can work for both sides going forward and get back to building a sustainable model.
We've had a couple of listener questions that have come in. Are you open to taking a couple of those, Joe?
Sure.
TJ, what you got?
A couple of them actually were kind of what Joe was just hitting on there with some antitrust exemption questions and stuff like that. This texter from the 405 does want to know if Joe can reveal whether he's going to be involved in any of these competitions at the Crimson Combine.
Good question.
Ooh, I'm up for some great ideas here. Something that is, Toby, you and I maybe could have a food contest.
TJ wants to have a corny dog eating contest with you, he said.
Oh, I could get my mind around that.
Yeah.
We have Fletcher's, thanks to TJ, we changed the world up here.
That's right.
That's right.
Thanks
it was
to
all
me.
TJ's credit for that.
Thank you for finally admitting that out loud,
Joe.
Joe.
So I'll have to give that to our marketing team and see what they could come up with.
Okay. Very good.
There's some people here, and this has kind of been hit on in the last couple of days. What would you say, there's been a lot of concern from alumni and the way that they use this weekend for their reunions and different things like that. What would you tell those former players and everything that are afraid that that's kind of going to break apart for them without having the actual game?
We're still doing all of those types of activities. We already have them scheduled. A lot of former athletes, not just former football players, but we have a lot of former athletes of a variety of sports that come in on the spring weekend. It's been a long-standing tradition where we already have a lot of that set up. The difference is, they won't be at the game, but they will have the chance to be at, and/or we're talking to some of them about being part of the new approach. Marketing team came up with this title as Crimson Combine. It's not going to be a testing type of combine like we would relate it to in the NFL, but there will be a lot of competitive games, fun games. I think you could consider it being more like what we've been seeing lately with the NFL Pro Bowl, where there are fun games, testing people's skills, but things they don't normally do all the time. So let me make it abundantly clear. We will continue to do the reunions around that weekend, as well as what we do around football games in the fall.
Tell us your impression of Jim Nagy.
I'm really excited about him. He's really experienced. I think he's got a really unique feel for the combining his experience in scouting and working in the NFL front office to interacting with college programs, college athletes, because it has been part of his job working and running the Senior Bowl and having to work through a variety of new iterations in the Senior Bowl game itself. A lot of things aren't static, Toby, and people want to change, people want to do this or that, and he's been at the forefront of trying to make it even more attractive and enjoyable for the players to be part of, and that's a big thing. He had to get the players there. It's not just telling you how to Senior Bowl and everybody shows up. There's players that have agents, and some of them want their athletes to play in the game, and some don't. So he's had a variety of different experiences that I really believe are going to serve us well, serve the strategy we have in building or retaining the team to be competitive and pursue championships in the SEC, as well as getting into the playoff and winning a national championship. That's always our goal, and it will always be our goal. And I think he's going to be a great asset to us and know how to build the state-of-the-art, if you will, scouting and personnel department as we deal with both the high school recruiting and portal recruiting.
All right, last question. Crystal ball. If the spring portal were to go away, do you foresee the possibility in the future that a spring game could come back, or are spring games done forever?
I'm not going to say they're coming back. The more I talk to people in the college sports landscape, I don't have a lot of optimism they'll come back because of the reduced rosters and the need to probably change the way we approach practice in the spring, and quite candidly, the way we are going to approach practice in fall camp as going through the season. It's just a different world, Toby, that we'll learn a lot more as we go along. But what I hear and how I see coaches and other leaders in the college landscape processing this, I would say probably not coming back. It could change, right, but I would say probably not.
Yeah.
But we'll still have a spring weekend. It's not going to have the spring game. We're still going to do certain things in the spring to try to stay connected with our fans.
Maybe it will be better, but times they are a-changing for sure. Joe, we appreciate it. I think the fans appreciate hearing from you. It's been an interesting week, and I look forward to seeing what this event turns out to be in April.
Yep. We're working hard to try to make it fun as it could possibly be. And again, Toby, I hate to be the bearer of the news of change. I'm a traditionalist. I love the spring game. I've gone back and played in one as an alum. It's a lot of fun, and I hate to see it going away. I'm with the fans. I don't like it. It's just something that we're having to do to adjust and best position our programs.
Yeah, very. It's these are odd days for all of us, but we'll power through. Joe, thank you so much, and I'm sure I'll see you tonight at the LNC.
Okay, look forward to it. Big game. Let's get going.
That's right. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
All right.